Wow, I just dripped hot coffee on my toe. Rhyme unintentional. Stupid hot coffee. Oh, I'm in a different spot. Can you tell? It's weird. Have I ever recorded from this end of the couch? I don't think I have. It's weird. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Thursday. It's February 11th, 2021. My name is Jeremy. This is my first cup of coffee. Well, I'll show you why I'm on this end of the couch. There's a plant there, and there's just stuff. So the renovations here in the living room went really well yesterday. Let's see. There were, how many layers did Joey pull out? Like 6. It's weird. It's if you've ever purchased a house and done renovations on it. Good morning, Stacy. You may have asked yourself, why did they do this? And we have one of those situations here because I've got this wide opening between the original house and the addition. And thus you would expect that that wall in between, I'll show you, right? So there's the hole in between, okay? So that wall was the outer wall in the old house, or in the original house. They added insulation on top of the siding, the aluminum siding from the house. So you had inside of the house, insulation, aluminum siding, more insulation, and then the paneling and stuff that's the inside of the house currently. Why that extra insulation? I don't know. We were trying to figure it out, and I don't have a good answer. But it's gone. We removed most of it. So all kinds of bags, junk came out of a, what's that, 4x4 hole. But the shelves are going to be awesome, and I'm super pumped for it. Plumber came yesterday and fixed a couple little things. Yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot going on here. Yesterday was a decent day. Yesterday was the best day yet this week. Every day is getting a little better. I want to continue to thank people who are supporting me in the various ways that you all are. Some are sending me texts, messages, and emails. And, some have said they're praying, and I appreciate all that. It's just getting a little better every day. Okay. It snowed most of the day. Have the fire going, and I'm pretty sure I got through just about all the projects I needed to. Ordered a ton of seeds. I spent like $120 on seeds, just on seeds yesterday. And a lot of stuff's out already. If you're gonna have a garden this year, order your seeds now. Seriously, order them now. It is, last year, everybody reacted in like May or June. But now what seems to be going on are the people who are used to, like myself, are used to buying their seeds late in the season. We're trying to get going early in the season, and they're buying more. I didn't even get everything I needed, and I bought from 2 places. A lot of things just aren't there, and that's why most of what I'm trying to grow is stuff I can save seed from, so I don't have to deal with this next year. Roughly half of what I'm going to grow I already have seed for, and maybe a quarter of that, if not a third, maybe half of that, maybe a little more is seed that I've saved. It's easy to save seeds. You just you cut that tomato open and squish the seeds out and wash them and let them dry. It's easy, super easy. And actually, over time, those plants do better in your soil because you breed them. Went to the gym, ate a pizza, watered my plants, dealt with a very annoying cat, watched some TV, tried to arrange today in a way that made sense. My plan earlier in the week was that I was going to finish up all of the training videos, or all the martial arts videos I did. And I may be able to do a number of them. But between editing, rendering, uploading, and plugging stuff in, it's got to be at least 30 minutes each, and there's 8 more. So it's 4 hours. I don't have 4 hours. I might have 90 minutes now because everybody kept wanting to call. And I'm trying not to take calls on Fridays. So there's a chance that if I can get through my morning work tomorrow efficiently, I can do this tomorrow. So as soon as the videos are ready, I will let you know. You all will probably be the first to know. So stay tuned. It is Thursday. Is there an episode out yet? Let's see. Thursday episodes. Not yet. Episode 579 will be out soon. Did I do anything for Martial Arts Radio yesterday? I don't think so. Andrew and I sent. There were some messages going back and forth with Andrew and I, and Andrew and Leslie and I. But I think that was it. Yeah. So today, calls. Video. Orthodontist. I'm driving an hour for what they're calling a 40-minute appointment. But I'm going to go to Costco. And then I'm going to go to Home Depot. 2 of my favorite places on earth. I'm going to see if I can get some of the seeds that I needed at Home Depot and Gardener Supply, which if you are at all a garden person, you probably know about Gardener Supply. Well, they started in Vermont. And it's a super cool store. And it's right next to Home Depot. So I'll go. I have to make note of what I'm missing for seeds and see what I can get there. But it's a fun store. And I deserve to go to a fun store after this week. Yeah. One thing I didn't mention. Did I mention that? I don't think I mentioned this. I'm going to mention this because it's probably the most exciting martial arts piece for all of you. So my carpenter friend, Joey, who's doing this work here, he mentioned that there was a big project. We're only expecting to have a couple days to do some things here. And yesterday was one of them. He's going to be back tomorrow. He's a skier. The skiing today is supposed to be really good. So he's like, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I'll be here Friday. So you'll probably get me on the couch like this side of the couch tomorrow. Stacy says, you always deserve to go to a fun store. Bad week or good week. Thank you. But he said, I've got some more time. And I said, all right. And I thought, we haven't really tackled anything out in the warehouse / the dojo. And I'm going to call it a dojo because it's going to be my space and I use Japanese terms. At Whistlekick, we use generic terms. School, studio, whatever. But there are some things that need to be done with it to make it a little more user-friendly. And we went out there and that's on the list now. So what does that mean? It means that on the other side of COVID, I can host small groups for training, 6 to 8. It means that I will have a place to record video of me training, which will go onto this new channel. And I am considering, I don't think I'm going to do this, but I am considering moving my desk out there. Now, I'd have to have a different desk because the desk I have is monstrous and would take up half the space. But I am considering working out there and keeping my home my home. So we got a bunch of work to do first. See what happens. Mostly it just involves cutting and putting plywood in places of varying grades. There are, there are gaps in the floor. Those aren't good. And there's a lot of spray foam. So, didn't work on the training program yesterday because I didn't want to. But I'm going to work on it for a little bit this morning after the show. And just try to get as much done as I can. That's all I can do. And what I can with what I have where I'm at. Yeah. Anything else to tell you? I don't think so. I don't think so. All right. Let's see what you all sent in for me to chat about. Comments. You know, there's something funny that goes on, and that I'm just gonna remark about. Somebody will find us via YouTube, and they comment on something, and then they're surprised that I engage with them in like a positive and intelligent way, and then they start listening to all of the episodes that we've got on YouTube. And they leave a lot of comments, and I engage with them on many of them. And then they kind of get pulled in. They're like, hey, this whistlekick thing's kind of cool. You guys are all right. I'm watching someone in that process right now. All right, what do we got? We got quotes. We got comments. We got stuff from Emmett and Stacy and Frank. You guys are flooding me with good stuff. All right. Who we got first? What are we doing first? Let me look. All right, I'm going to read Stacy's first. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our freedom and power to choose a response. In our response lies our growth and our happiness. Attributed to Viktor Frankl. It's funny that comes up because we talked about this yesterday, right? We talked about stimulus and response. We talked about the time it takes to react and the importance of instinct. But there is a lot of space, especially if you consider this if we're going to look at it from a martial arts perspective. Think of it in that, let's call it pre-fight. The posturing, the conversation, maybe the pushing, the non-violent physical action. Somebody bumps into you, rah, 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 or, oh, sorry about that. Even if you're the one that bumped into, even if you aren't the one responsible, somebody bumps into you, it's okay if you apologize. Would you rather be wrong or in a fight? I'll take wrong every time. My ego is sufficient that I don't need to prove anything that will result in a fight. I hope you can say the same. Fighting's stupid. It is. I don't mean combat. I mean fighting. I mean... Right, that. But I like this. In the space lies our freedom and power to choose a response. In our response lies our growth and our happiness. Think about a time when you reacted better than you might have in the past. Something happens, someone does something, and you take a beat and you think, and you say, I'm going to do this instead. Oh, shoot. I'm not going to react in this way. I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to do whatever else. It's growth. And then I'm going to read Emmett's and then look at the quotes that Frank gave us from somebody I really like. In learning to paint, excuse me, in learning to paint, we gather around a fruit bowl, all with the same techniques learned. However, we each paint the fruit differently. This is art. And martial art is no different. We all learn the same techniques, but we must interpret and apply these skills in a way that shows who we are and displays our unique perspective as artists. Sensei Emmett. I like it. Now, I don't know if you just came up with that, my friend, or if that's something that you've been saying in the classes, but I completely, wholeheartedly agree. By putting yourself forward through whatever it is you do with the techniques in whatever the context, that is art. The idea that we all learn the same techniques, maybe not from school to school, but within your school, think about forms. Even in schools where the intent is for everyone to do the forms the same, there's still variation, even if it's not intended, because we're all a little different. You can always, if you look closely, you can always find some variation. And those variations can lead to progress. That is, assuming that you believe in evolution, that's literally the process of evolution. There's a mutation, something aberrant, something unexpected that the environment selects as being advantageous. I like the way you did that. I'm going to do that too. Ooh, I also like the way you did that. I am also going to do that too. And now there's progress. And Emmett is watching and responds. It came out of nowhere during a Zoom class last night, and I wrote it down immediately. That's awesome. I love these sort of quotes. I do. I think these are great because they're valuable for younger martial artists, and I don't just mean in age. I mean in experience. They're valuable for them because it shows them that there is more to what we do than punching and kicking. But there's value for us who have been training a while, especially those who are thinking about these things. Because I think that, I feel strongly that the most growth as a martial artist, once you've been training, let's say 10 years, is up here. It's mental. It's thinking through this stuff. How does the time that I've put in punching and kicking change my life and the lives of those around? It doesn't stop me from punching and kicking and wanting to get better at it. It doesn't stop me from practicing forms and seeing the value there. But the most opportunity for growth, the biggest deficiency, is the integration of martial arts to everyday life, because even if you practice an hour a day, there's 23 hours a day that you are practicing not doing martial arts. So how do you bridge that gap? And it is in the recognition and the bridging of that gap that we see the most progress. And now for Frank, who says, and now for some quotes from actor James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones, what a great voice. And what a phenomenal actor. Just in everything but, what was the movie that Andrew made me watch that I hated? Best of the Best? I did not like James Earl Jones in that movie. I believe my exact words were, and James Earl Jones acting came across like he was paid on a sliding scale. Because he was terrible in that movie. But everything else I've ever seen him in, I liked. And it was nice to see a familiar face in that movie that was atrocious. One of the hardest things in life is having words in your heart that you can't utter. Yeah. I think we all have that. I suspect we all have that. I have that. I have that with a lot of people. There are things that I don't say, things that I feel I can't say. Because the world doesn't want to hear it. Or maybe isn't ready to hear it. Yeah. Next. We're not going to unpack that one anymore. If you live in an oppressive society, try again. If you live in an oppressive society, you've got to be resilient. You can't let each little thing crush you. You have to take every encounter and make yourself larger rather than allow yourself to be diminished by it. That's. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday about martial arts, about testing, about the pressure that testing induces on people and the importance of that testing. And as martial arts instructors, if it's handled correctly, if it's doled out in the right dose, people respond to pressure. They grow. You can't do too much too soon. You don't want to throw somebody in some incredibly intense, high pressure situation, day one, day two. But as they train longer and longer, you can push them a little bit more. Oh, this level of pressure is comfortable. Now let's turn it up a notch. And in doing so, you eventually get them to a point where they are closer, probably never as close because it's controlled, but closer to what they will experience in a real world confrontation or the unexpectedness of life. And they're better able to handle those things because that pressure is something that is, it is not so novel. It's a little more familiar, and thus they know they can work through it. Martial arts for so many of us becomes and should become a reference point to which we can refer when life gets difficult. And our role as instructors, for those of us who are, is to give our students opportunities to define those reference points that they might use. Stuttering is painful. In Sunday school, I'd try to read my lessons, and the children behind me were falling on the floor with laughter. But they're not laughing now. Messages coming in. I've never had to deal with stuttering. I am fortunate that I was a strong reader very early, but I had friends who weren't. And I remember being young, and you do the thing where teachers have everybody read a few sentences and it goes back and forth. And I remember that even through high school when we were reading Shakespeare. And feeling sorry isn't the right, feeling empathy for people who struggle to read, either because they struggled to read or because of the pressure that they experienced reading out loud in front of the class. I suppose that I did fine with that because of a combination of my confidence in my reading skill, probably my mother having me read to her, and martial arts, having to do things in front of people. I mean, I went to my first competitions at 6, 7? Getting up in front of people is something that if I have at all confidence in the skill set that is needed, I'm fine with. I still get butterflies, I still get nervous, but I like the attention. You don't do this show not appreciating attention. Let's be honest. I'm in a bathrobe and you guys are watching me. It's weird, but it's the best kind of weird. This one's fun and a great one to end on. I agree with my father, Albert Einstein. Don't believe every quote you read on the internet. James Earl Jones. That's referencing, you've probably seen it, that graphic. It's a black background, it's a white, all white photo. So it becomes a black and white photo of Albert Einstein saying, don't believe everything you read on the internet. Which, of course, is funny because he died before the internet. Oh, well, good stuff. Thank you to Ebbett and Stacy and Frank, as always, for your contributions to the show. Thank you to all of you again for your compassion, your support. It is greatly valued. And thank you to everybody else for watching. I hope that more of you will leave questions and comments and quotes because it's the hallmark of the show. It's great, great stuff. It's what makes this thing tick. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because we do this show and we do all kinds of other stuff that you'll want to check out. We do this show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time here on YouTube. Catch it later in audio form in your podcast feed. Stacy says, there were times in my life where to start talking in a therapy session, I had to write a letter. I didn't believe I deserved to be heard. Taekwondo helped with that. Awesome. Sometimes expressing the things you need to say the most is the hardest. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you back here tomorrow for the Friday episode. Woo! Take care. Peace.